Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch. If you're new here, hello, my name is Kloee Taylor, and I'm your favorite tarot card reader. And I believe that we have the most cozy, vibey, autumnal corner of the internet. So if you want more readings like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, today's reading, once again, my beautiful pumpkins, comes from Patreon. I polled y'all over there. I put out a poll, and I asked you about several different topics, and this was the second most rated upon that everybody wanted. So this one is going to be all about what routines you need to commit to, or the routine you need to commit to in order to get whatever it is you're trying to get in life right now, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, whatever it is that you're trying to change about your life, or maybe you just have like a feeling that you're constantly sitting in and you want to be like moved on from that. Or I would also say, if you feel like you've been just in this cycle of repetition that is not serving you, you keep having like the same things happen to you, or for you rather, this is really the thing you need to commit to, the routine you need to commit to get out of it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So pile number one, you have this beautiful piece of Aqua Aura Quartz. This one actually comes from Bow Life. I do have a discount code down below for you. This middle one, which is going to be pile number two, this is actually just a piece of regular Aura Quartz. I got this one locally, so unfortunately I don't have a link for you. And then this third pile here has a rose quartz heart, which of course I did get from Bow Life as well. Actually, this video is not sponsored, but we are like serving Bow Life energy today. These cards are also Bow Life cards. So link to her store down below, Vanessa Samina. Bow Life is her store down below. Make sure you save 10% by using that if you see something here that you like. But again, this video is not sponsored, I promise. I just genuinely really love the stuff. So, yeah, pile number one has the Aqua Aura Quartz. Pile number two has the regular Aura Quartz. Pile number three has the Rose Quartz Heart. So just know that you're never going to choose wrong. It's okay to choose more than one. And some people will listen to the entire video and then decide at the end which fit them the most. So there's really no wrong way to do this. And I'm going to go ahead and turn up the meditation music for about a minute or so, give you some time to decide, and then we'll get into it starting from pile number one. All right, pile number one, if you chose the blue or the Aqua Aura Quartz rather, this is going to be what you really need to commit to in order to create the change you're looking for. So we have first and foremost, the main significator of your reading is the card of rejection. And this card, I really believe, is coming to you right now because you let the fear of rejection control your entire life. You don't put yourself out there. You over-explain yourself. You are someone that you have such a deep-seated fear of rejection that you literally paralyze yourself and don't take life into your own hands. And I'm not telling you this because I want to fill you with shame. I'm just telling you this because if this is how you'll know if this is your reading, okay? So the rejection, though, as the main significator is, to me, number one, how do we overcome rejection? Let's just talk about that for a second. There are a myriad of ways to do this. We'll get into more of it with more cards, of course, and we'll see what Spirit has to say in order to direct you. But something I want to note is it sucks. It sucks. I'm going to be so honest with you. It sucks. But the way that you get over rejection is by being rejected. The way that you get over fear of rejection is by opening yourself up to rejection. And like, for example, people ask me all the time, Kloee, how do you post videos on YouTube the way that you do? I want to start my channel, but I'm scared. In the beginning, I was petrified, but I did it anyway. And I was rejected. There were plenty of people that came at me that would say the meanest things, but I kept doing my thing. And the more I kept doing my thing, the more I started connecting with people that didn't reject me. The more I started connecting with voices and people that resonated, right? So you have to put yourself, basically the way to overcome the fear of rejection is to stare that fear in the face and prove to yourself that you can handle rejection and that you will be okay. The world is not going to end. Your whole life isn't going to fall apart. It doesn't say anything about you when somebody rejects you. And oftentimes the fear of rejection comes out because we were rejected before in an egregious way. Like maybe your parents rejected you. Maybe siblings rejected you. Maybe you had a long history in school as a child of being rejected over and over. Okay. This is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to decide to change the narrative and move forward despite the odds, despite what you've been conditioned to believe. It doesn't mean that the road is going to be easy, but I am here to tell you that it's possible. And this is coming to the surface for you because you've let this go on too long. And I think you're actually aware of it, to be honest. I think you're aware that rejection controls a lot of what you will and won't do. Like you've stopped yourself from putting yourself out there in communities. You've stopped yourself from creating art. You've stopped yourself from maybe even asking somebody out or going for a certain job or creating a side hustle. Do you know how many people are terrified to say something because like their family follows them on social media? I want you to think about every person's story that you've ever listened to, or maybe you read a biography. Think about how those people also have parents, also have cousins, aunts, uncles, siblings. Those people all have people, and I guarantee you not every single one of those people supports them, but they did it anyway. And there is nothing different between you and the people that are doing things that you want to do. It is a matter of deciding to face rejection anyways. You have what it takes. This wouldn't have come out for you if you did not have what it takes to face rejection. Now we have using all of your senses. Deep sea blind shrimp, especially your sixth sense. So this card, in terms of what you need to commit to for a routine to overcome this, is you need to commit to trusting your intuition. Trusting your intuition above all else. You are somebody that puts logic before anything. I'm getting that vibe. And you haven't let your intuition lead you enough. Even though you know that you have strong intuition, you constantly will question what you think, what you say. Like I said, I'm really getting the energy of overthinking or there's a lot of cerebral energy. And it's time to actually start trusting your intuition. I think one of the coolest examples I saw of this recently, I think I talked about this in another recent Pick a Card, but I'm going to mention it real quick again, is Manifestation Babe, one of my mentors. She doesn't know me personally, but I consider her a mentor. She was talking about how her multi-million-dollar business that she has continued to help build from the ground up, she was talking about how her intuition told her that she needed to take a sabbatical, like a extended, indefinite amount of time off. And she's terrified, right? She's like, I can't do that. I run a multi-million-dollar business. And then she was like, you know what? It's not my job to figure out the how or the why. It's my job to trust my intuition and do what I need to do to follow and honor that. So even though I'm scared, I'm going to do it anyway. And I feel like the more that you trust your intuition and do what you believe your intuition is pushing you to do, the easier it becomes over time. But that's part of the routine, is like, even if you feel like you just need to hone your intuition, you can do that. There are so many ways, like even pulling out a deck of cards and just like trying to focus on what the card on top is and like seeing if you get it right. That is a way of exercising your intuition. So this is part of the routine you need to cultivate. We also have the card archetype of the healer. And this says, let me read it to you. Passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit. Ability to help transform pain into healing. And the shadow attribute of the healer, because there are both, is taking advantage of those who need help, failing to care for yourself. So your routine possibly needs to include another person. You maybe are your own best healer, which I fully agree. Honestly, my course, The Authentic Self, is all about that. But sometimes it does take another person to hold space so you can get there. And I would just say, I don't get the sense, like, obviously, if you feel like you need psychiatric or therapeutic help, please seek that. I am not a therapist or a doctor to diagnose, but like, please keep that in mind. But I really feel like part of your routine, you actually need to seek counsel from a life coach or a healer or like a shaman. You need to go with somebody that thinks in a non-logical way. I feel like you might even be someone that always considers like a therapist and always tries to go the logical route. And there's nothing wrong with this. I am a huge advocate and fan of therapy. I would never tell you to like stop seeing your therapist. Not only is that not my place, but that is up to you to decide. However, it could be an in tandem thing. Maybe you're already seeing a therapist and you need to add somebody else. It's like, you know, in your heart of hearts that you require more of that soft spiritual energy, but you do nothing to try to get it. You don't go out of your way to try to find the right person that can help you. And that person does exist. And I feel like you really need to go with, like, to me, this is like alternate forms of medicine. Now, again, please know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose you. It, like, legally and professionally would be wrong of me. So I'm not telling you what to do with your life. I am just simply stating that if you have ever been interested in working with another person, you need to stop looking at all the logical approaches and start looking at the spiritual approaches. Because you now have 2 cards here that have come out that tell me there is something buried within your psyche that is, you haven't been able to logic your way through it. And you should know by now that that approach is, it's not going to get you there. And in order to overcome this rejection, you need to take it a step further and do something different that you've never tried before. Now, we also have a couple of just like Rider-Waite Smith styled cards. So we have the 2 of Cups, which I really do believe this is another person. This is, and it's not your significant other. I think it's actually another healer, because I love that this card in particular, it seems, I do not want to gender anybody, but it seems like it's possibly, or they are possibly a female figure and maybe a non-binary figure. But what this says to me is, I'm not getting the energy of partner. Gender aside, I'm not getting the idea that this is romantic in nature. This feels more like, again, meeting with a healer. So this needs to become part of your routine. Even if you do not go out of your way to pay a life coach, a shaman, a healer, you can actually look these people up and watch their content, learn the things that they teach. That will give you an idea. A lot of them also have courses that you can buy into, and I would encourage that. We also have the 2 of Wands, which tells me you're living a very small life right now. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I think obviously everybody is doing the best that they can. I'm not trying to disrespect you, but you have been living the same, like, it's almost like you live in the same town. You live with the same people. You live in the same house. There is no fluctuation in what you allow yourself to perceive. You're one of those people that I feel like travel would dramatically change your life. Every time you travel, like it changes you because you insist on like living in, I'm just going to give it to you straight, okay? You insist on living in a bubble. And this bubble is not serving you. It keeps you in this fear-based way of thinking. It keeps you afraid of rejection because you're not putting yourself out there. And it doesn't mean you have to flood yourself with traumatizing experiences. You can do this in a really gentle way by going out for coffee and like saying good morning to somebody that you've never met before. That can be like a first step. Or if that seems like too much, driving to the coffee shop and then just driving home before you ever actually interact with another person. Like, you can take baby steps, but the concern that I have for you is that in order to create a routine that's going to support you, it has to be bathed in intuition, spirituality. It cannot be logicked through. And it needs to include mentors and people that can help you, because I think you're used to being a mentor yourself. And it's like you have become the healer that can't heal themselves. And that is a real archetype. I myself have been through that. I understand it intimately, but you have the ability to get through this. And the Two of Wands tells me that you're not allowing your reality to expand enough because you're not making choices that are putting you out of your comfort zone enough. And even if you do it slowly, it's okay. You can go as slow as you need to go, but you need to be making a conscious effort. And the Nine of Cups tells me, again, this card normally is all about like awesome gifts and manifestations, but in this context, it's the card of contentment, and not in a positive way. It is the card of being content, but to a degree that you start to become uncomfortable. That's kind of the thing with the Nine of Cups that I feel like people don't talk about enough, is in the Nine of Cups, you have this figure sitting on this bench, content with all their glittering prizes. Eventually, the mind wants a new experience. Eventually, you want to do something else. And I'm also getting the message from your guides that the things that you desire right now are literally just stepping stones. And that's okay. If they help you to get out of your comfort zone, that's a good thing. But don't discount yourself when you achieve and get the things that you desire by making these changes, because you will. Expect that you're going to become discontent and you're going to want to have like new dreams, basically. So I don't know why that's coming out, but it is. Now, the next two cards that we have for you are the last two, rather. We have for you, you can radically change your results by shifting your beliefs. What belief is limiting you? So once again, we have this internal belief that we will be rejected. And something else I want to mention is often when we have a fear of rejection, it's because internally you reject yourself. And it doesn't mean that like you might think you're the shit. You might think that like you are so cool, you have the coolest personality. But the thing is, you might think it of yourself, but the second you think of somebody else witnessing you, if you are feeling shame or fear or unable to expand your bubble, there is something deep within you that feels like you are worthy of rejection. And that is why you constantly are met with this feeling of being afraid of rejection. Because I got to tell you, from somebody that has like, let me just like close the channel for a minute, not my channel, but like let me just talk to you for a second as Kloee Taylor. Okay. I'm like, basically, spirit, slow down for a second. Let me just talk to you for a minute. Me to you. Take it from somebody who's been there. I know what it feels like I was a disabled child. Okay. I went to school and I would lose friends constantly just because of the way that I looked, the way that I walked. Kids are fucking vicious and mean. And that did lead me to living a life where I thought I would always be rejected, especially coupled with an abusive household where both of my parents are still basically the mature age of early adolescence. And having all of that, also being outright rejected for like self-expression, having religious trauma, like I could go on all day with how rejected I've been in my lifetime. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that everybody has their own story of rejection. You can work through whatever it is that has caused you to feel rejected. I promise. You have what it takes. You do not have to live with this fear of rejection for the rest of your life. And the first step is that you have to stop rejecting yourself. You have to stop thinking that you are not worthy of taking up space. You have to challenge those beliefs inside of you because they're not helping you. I feel like the biggest telltale sign for me when I was changing my confidence and I knew that I still had work to do is I used to tell myself all the time that I hated people. Truly, I used to say this all the time, that I was an introvert and I hated people. And don't get it twisted, there is nothing wrong with being an introvert. That is a real thing, and some people just emotionally charge better without other people around. But there is a fine line between that and avoiding people because you are afraid of being rejected and saying that you hate people because you have been rejected. That to me was my key indicator of I don't actually know how to be around people. I don't like people because I fear being othered. And the way that I actually worked through that, this might be a suggestion that you take, it might not. I used to stream on Twitch, and I really feel like that helped me overcome my fear of rejection, because when you live stream and anybody can cross your stream and talk to you, people will say the meanest shit to you. But you have like other eyes on you as well that not only will stand up for you, but on top of that, like I just wouldn't tolerate it in front of other people. And I think it honestly changed the way that I behaved with rejection. Don't get me wrong, I think we all are guilty of it from time to time, but I sense that I'm like mad for you. I'm mad for you because I can see in my mind's eye how much of your life that you've missed out on because you haven't worked to basically, I don't want to say like fix this because it's not a problem that you need to fix. You are not a project that needs to be fixed. However, this is something that you can overcome. This is something that like getting rejected can become a comfortable thing. And it doesn't mean that you'll never be rejected again. It means that you can become very confident with yourself to know that even when you're rejected, it doesn't necessarily say a damn thing about you. That's what I'm trying to get at. So I hope any of that helped. We're going to come back to channeling it out now. So everybody just take a deep breath. Whew. Okay. The last card I have for you is live life for you, not the audience in your head. Authenticity. Ooh, this pile is my squad. So when you're living life authentically, you're not scared of rejection because you know that rejection not only is redirection, but also the people that reject you, sometimes those are the same people that come back and praise you. You can't control how other people behave. Please yourself. Please yourself. And as far as routines go, the thing you have to incorporate is number one, trusting your intuition. Definitely include some kind of mentor, whether it's like reading a certain book of theirs daily, putting on an interview every day or a podcast. Like find a new podcast that has a backlog of episodes that you can listen to. Of course, I'm going to recommend mine, Divine Authenticity. But if it's not me, I don't care. Go listen to somebody else that really inspires you. Like put this in your daily routine. And you have to start incorporating into your daily routine limiting belief work, where you are constantly challenging those beliefs of rejection. And it is going to get a little uncomfortable at first, but it will get easier with time. So that is what I have for you, pile number one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to check out my course, The Authentic Self, especially because you got the authenticity card. It's $12. It's on my website, KhloeTaylor.com. It helps you to meet your authentic self with a 22-page guidebook, along with a couple of audio segments to guide you through the process. And I really do believe in the work. It changed my life. That's why I created it. I also offer private readings on my website if that's something that you want, at KhloeTaylor.com. And if you would like to support me even further, I have my Patreon available to you, where I put out weekly energy updates along with astrology. We do community nights where we come together and do things every month. I also put out a card of the month. Anytime I upload personalized content, life updates, vlogs, they always go to Patreon. So if you want to be a part of that community, it really helps me support. It helps support me to do my thing and gets you some extra content. So definitely check it out. If you are feeling extra generous and you have got it in the bag and you are thriving, I am available for tips all day, every day, and I'm your favorite tarot card reader. So my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list are always down below. It is never an expectation, but always appreciated. And if you want to listen to my podcast, it's available every Monday to you. New episodes. We talk about logic. We talk about mysticism, mental health, everything under the sun. It's a good time. It's called Divine Authenticity. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. And last but certainly not least, of course, my socials. I'm at Kloee Taylor everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely follow me. And please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. All right, pile number two, if you have the regular Aura Quartz here, you're reading the routine that you got to commit to, what you need to commit to in order to make a change, up level, whatever it is that you're looking for. The heart of your reading we have as the card of consciousness. And I just need to say, I need to put these other two cards down before I can continue, because they just build the story of this out so much better. So we also have Solaris Clownfish, protect your home, take care of your sacred space. And then we also have the Vampire card. And this is like an energy vampire, literally. So I'm going to be totally honest with you. Your energy is definitely being preyed upon by energy vampires, by somebody that you potentially live with or talk to a lot. And they might not even know that they're an energy vampire. I think when we say that phrase, we think that the person is aware and just siphons our energy off intentionally. I'm not saying that people like that don't exist, but this is something that I don't even know that they're conscious of it. But here's the thing. You need to commit to upping your protection, upping the protection of your home, your sacred space, and not interacting with this person if you can help it, because your consciousness has not been able to evolve. You've been missing out on blessings, basically, because of the company that you keep, of the this also, if it's not a person, for some of you, I'm hearing that you've literally never smoke cleansed your house or yourself, and you don't have to use sage. We know that, I want to say it's specifically white sage that's endangered. So we don't necessarily have to use sage. There are so many other smokes you can use. You can use lavender. You can use yerba santa. You can use rosemary. You can use those are the ones I know of for sure. You can use incense, okay? So you don't have to use white sage, or maybe it's blue sage. One of the two is endangered. If you're using sage, I just always recommend either harvesting yourself from your own grown, or making sure that you're getting it from a sustainable, reliable source. But the thing is, some of y'all have never smoke cleansed your home, and it shows. And it could just be that you have literally an accumulation of negative energy around you. And for some of you, if you do routinely do this, you need to do more, not just smoke cleansing, but black candles are great. Protective crystals. This one is a specular hematites. I got this one in Bainbridge Island. If y'all are local, there's a crystal store there that you can go to. There's I want to say the most like readily available crystal for most people is obsidian. Obsidian's a good one, and black tourmaline is also really great. But getting like a protection bracelet, getting a protection candle, doing a smoke cleanse. You can even light a match and just use like match smoke. If that's all that you have, that will work. But basically what I'm getting at here is that you haven't been able to uplevel your consciousness because you need to create a routine where you are cleansing your energy often. It might even be because you work in a toxic environment and you constantly bring that home, but ultimately your energy is affected. You are highly sensitive, your energy is affected, and your routine needs to include spiritual protection because you are affected. I always think it's crazy when people tell me that they don't think they're affected. You cannot just love and light that shit away. Just because you have love and light doesn't mean mother effers will not light your house on fire, okay? Love and light is only going to get you so far. You cannot just meditate and pray that away. I really do believe that it's more than just imagining in the mind's eye. You have to take physical precaution. And especially, I've said this before and I will say it again, especially if you're somebody that has a YouTube channel or a Twitch stream or a podcast, or you put yourself out there in a public capacity. Please do not put yourself out there without protecting yourself, because especially if you attract a lot of eyeballs, people won't even realize that they're speaking negative intention over you, but they are. And not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to agree with you. And it's very important that you protect your energy from those things. So I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but this is what I'm seeing. Like, you need to include in your daily routine energy work. This could also be getting into like Reiki, meditation, not just protective energy work, but also up-leveling your consciousness work. So reading books on the evolution of consciousness. A thread that I always like to pull that I think is interesting, I always like to look up anything that the Monroe Institute has done. The Monroe Institute is like heavily known for working with the CIA and the FBI and like basically overseeing like special projects for the government and doing like meditation projects where they have disclosed documents too. If you go to like the CIA's website, they have documents that cover where they've studied like telekinesis and stuff like that. But I feel like even like pulling on that thread and learning more about like the special government ops is kind of fun. But even just looking for books that will up-level your consciousness, those exist. Start looking to that kind of stuff because there is something that you need to recognize, is what I'm hearing from spirit. And you're not going to be able to do it unless you are protecting your energy and looking in the right places. But specifically, protection and energy work in your day-to-day routine. We also have for you the 10 of Wands, the World, and the 5 of Wands. So oh, that sucks. Okay. No, it has a good ending. Don't worry. But the 10 of Wands tells me that you have picked up so many other people's energy because you have not been cleansing yourself regularly, that you are carrying a heavy load that you don't even realize that you're holding. And so when you do this, you're actually going to lighten the load, but something else is going to happen as well, where you are going to create a little bit more chaos between you and other people, because this is the thing that is weird that happens when we shift our energy. When you make an energetic change, people that have energetic cords with you, which I believe that we create energetic cords with every person. Even if you like barely talk to somebody, you now have a cord. You can choose to cut that cord, cleanse that cord, remove that cord, but we have energy cords that attach us to so many people. It is my opinion, it's literally everyone unless you are consciously sweeping those away. But when you shift your energy, the cords that are attached to you, they notice. They notice immediately. This is why, like, I find often in my relationships, if I'm somebody that is giving, And the minute I start to pull back, I notice how everybody wants my attention. Everybody wants my energy. Everybody wants to call me. Everybody's like, oh, where'd she go? Now that suddenly my energy, I'm like reserving it for myself and I'm not just sending it out into the ether for anybody to have it. People notice. And for people that do not wish you well, they will feel that chaotic energy. It will feel like chaos, and they're going to like be calling you, texting you, asking you what you're doing. So just know, when you start to include this in your day-to-day life, it might create a little bit of an upheaval at first. And the world says, though, that you are literally completing a cycle of your life when you, like, your consciousness is raising to a point that you're going to become unrecognizable to yourself, but not like in a bad way, like you feel like a stranger to yourself. It's going to be like you're becoming more and more of yourself, that you can't believe you lived like this before. And we also have for you, anxiety isn't trying to limit you, but free you from a situation that no longer feels good. What is your discomfort trying to tell you? Ooh, one of the best things, worst and best. Worst because it did force me. I mean, I made the choice. Nothing was forced, but it did put it into perspective for me. So then I made choices. But one of the best questions one of my best friends ever asked me was, I was talking about like the discomfort I felt with another friend at the time. And she was like, Kloee, when you think of this person, remove all of like your day-to-day interactions. But when you think of this person in your mind, how do you feel? It changed my whole perspective, because I realized immediately I was anxious. I felt small, and it was an immediate signal that this person and I could not be friends. I was like, oh, this is somebody I don't feel comfortable with. I play out an old pattern with them that feels like home, because it was honestly the way that my mother would often treat me. And it forced me, like, all those anxious feelings that I was feeling, I immediately ended that friendship and moved on. And it was painful and it hurt, because I still loved the person, but that anxious feeling was trying to tell me something. I just couldn't see it until somebody else pointed it out. And this is the same for you. If you're always on edge, if you are always feeling a heightened sense of energy, I'm just going to say it. I've said this before. I try to only reserve it when it comes up, because I don't think this is something that you should ever say in a lighthearted way. Those of you that feel like you're cursed, you probably are. That is the first sign that if you are cursed, you will have the thought, I wonder if I'm cursed. I think I might be cursed. If you haven't thought about that prior to hearing this reading, you're not cursed. You're fine. But if you have had the thought, this is your gentle reminder that you probably are, and you need to go through curse removal. Recognize that curses can literally be just somebody speaking ill over your life. It doesn't have to be like some witch over a cauldron doing some shit. So it's actually very easy to curse someone. It's also, in that same regard though, depending on where the curse is from, what it is, and how heavy it was, they can be easy to remove. But I will always recommend to you checking out Bahati Life's YouTube channel. She has curse removal videos and they are excellent. I just really get the sense that if you have had the thought, you need to know that you are cursed by somebody else, and you need to go through curse removal. I am not an expert in curse removal, so that's why I'm directing you to go somewhere else. But in your weekly routine, you need to start working on your energy, because this anxiety is here because the company that you're keeping is not right for you. It is actually very toxic and draining to your energy. And when you start to do this work on a weekly basis, on a day-to-day basis of working with your energy, up-leveling your consciousness, you're going to see it clear as day. Then the last card we have for you is space. And it says, the quality of your life has more to do with what you remove from your life than what you add to it. Give yourself the gift of space. I don't even need to tell you anything about that. You already know. We just talked about it. Wow, I got the chills, full body chills from my toes all the way up to my crown. So I know that this is probably not the reading you wanted to hear, pile number two, but it's the reading you needed to hear. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I hope you will take this advice very seriously because your pile was very serious. And if you would like to gain some more information for yourself, if you are feeling like you need something, especially in terms of authenticity, finding your authentic self, working with your shadow, definitely check out my course available on my website. It's called The Authentic Self. It comes with a 22-page guidebook as well as a couple of audio guides that go with it. It's $12. It's on my website, KhloeTaylor.com, as well as private readings. Those are also available to you on my website, KhloeTaylor.com. And if you would like some more content and you want to support me as the wonderful, creative, favorite tarot card reader of yours that I am, check out my Patreon. I put out weekly energy updates as well as astrology updates. It's where my personal content goes. So if I ever like vlog or anything, Patreon always gets it. And y'all also help pick the topics for the YouTube videos. So you get to vote in those polls. And once a month, we do meet together for a community night where sometimes I teach you new spiritual concepts. Sometimes we meditate. Sometimes I read one question polls for you, like tarot card polls for you. It depends on the month what we decide to do, but we do get together in our cute little community once a month. So check out the Patreon if you want to support me and get some of that for yourself. I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal available to you if you would like to tip me for my readings. It is never expected, but always appreciated. My wish list is linked down below for you as well. I also have my podcast available every Monday. It's called Divine Authenticity, and I put out new episodes at 4:44 a.m. Pacific every Monday. And it's a good time. We love her. She's thriving. And last but certainly not least, because I'm your favorite tarot card reader, don't forget to follow me on socials. I'm at Kloee Taylor on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And please do not forget, my beautiful pumpkin, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. All right. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. All right, pile number three, if you chose the Rose Quartz Heart, this is going to be your reading. And for your routine, your biggest issue right now with I guess basically like the routine you haven't been able to follow, it's because you need to do this, commit to this. We have the card of ideation. And this topic, I'm going to make a whole podcast on this, maybe a video at some point, because this card is all about shifting your self-concept and changing the way that you think about yourself. Because when you have a belief about yourself, like, okay, for example, this is such a silly example, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. Recently, I was asking myself about the things I say about my body. So 10 years ago, and I am a manifestation girly, okay? I'm telling you my experience from my own perspective. You don't have to hold this, but just hear me out for a minute, okay? 10 years ago, I used to tell myself constantly that I felt like I had the body of a 90-year-old woman, mostly because in my mind, I don't think of a 90-year-old woman as being spry and thriving, even though that might be the case. I always think of them as like worn down, tired, hunched over. You know, they've lived a really long life and their body is decaying. And I would always tell myself, I would repeat this all the time. Lo and behold, I hit my 30s and I feel like I deal with so much more chronic pain than I've ever had in my whole life. I do feel like I move like a 90-year-old person. Mind you, yes, I am disabled, so there's an added layer. But I feel like I really spoke this into existence. And recently I was questioning this belief, and I was also questioning, I always say things to myself like, oh, I don't tan, I just burn, I'm a redhead, even though I know redheads that tan. So even when it comes to like small things, obviously the 90-year-old woman body thing, that's kind of a big thing, but tanning, small thing. Like, and some of y'all are not going to agree with this, and that's okay. When you start to change your self-concept on that level, you will see the changes happen in your day-to-day life. I have literally started telling myself that I am spry, movement is easy for me, and I've started telling myself that, yeah, I do tan a little bit actually. It's kind of strange for a redhead, right? I do tan just a little bit. And I haven't seen it yet, but I will report back. I guarantee you, give it 3 months, I'm going to be a little bronzed goddess, okay? So those are really silly examples, but your self-concept, what you believe about yourself to be true, will literally create your entire life. So for your routine that you need to commit to, you need to commit to whoever you want to be. Because if you constantly think that the life that you want is out of reach, or that you have to have something specific to get there, or you're going to feel happy when you get your dream house, you're going to feel good when you get your dream salary, you're going to be thriving when you hit that goal weight, you're going to be thriving when you meet your romantic partner. I'm going to tell you the rudest thing anyone has ever said to you, or like just has said to you today. That will not happen. You will reach those milestones and you will not have changed your self-concept or anything about yourself. And you're going to realize that it's not in a thing. It is in how you believe about yourself. So we also have Blue Whale, Ultimate Fulfillment. Dream big, it will work out. And we have Knight as an archetype that you need to start attracting in. So this to me is number one. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in this lifetime? This is work that will actually change your life on a fundamental level. When you ask yourself who you want to become and you start to practice being that person, I'm not talking about like, oh, I want to be a multimillionaire, and then you just start like irresponsibly spending all of your money. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is ask yourself how that person would feel. We're going to go with like being a multimillionaire first, okay? How would you wake up and feel on a day-to-day basis? Would you be sitting in scarcity mindset? Would you be afraid? Would you be calm because you knew that all of your needs were being met and you could dedicate yourself to your creative passions? That's the energy you need to literally drown your brain in. I don't care what anyone says. I don't think you need to spiritually bypass. I do think there is some level of healing involved where, yes, you need to do the deep underbelly work as to why you think that way about yourself, but changing the things that you think about yourself will create the actual change, and making your behaviors part of that. So if you wake up in the morning and you're stressed about money from the minute you wake up, but you want to become a multimillionaire, that stress is where you have to start. Your daily routine and commitment has to be to how can I wake up and not be stressed out? What can I do in my day-to-day life? Can I start by brewing myself a cup of calming tea? Can I start with affirmations? Can I start with meditation? Can I start with exercise? Can I start with talking to my therapist? Can I start with my life coach? Can I start with a positive mindset book? Can I start with a new course? Maybe every day I commit to doing a section of a course. Can I start by listening to an uplifting podcast first thing in the day? Can I start my day listening to the Superhuman app, which is one of my personal favorites? Like, there are so many resources out there, some of them free, some of them not. Maybe there's a YouTuber that you just need to start listening to more, because what you fill your mind with is what you will build your foundation on top of. So you need to ask yourself who you want to become and what you need to get your mind into absorbing as frequently as possible. I swear to you, even in my own life, when I have gotten serious about manifesting something and changing my reality and it's in full alignment with me, that's how I've done it. I have literally, I call it drowning my brain in like deeply saturating myself in whatever it is that I'm trying to become. And that doesn't mean just sitting on the couch and thinking about it, actually walking the walk, talking the talk. If I'm trying to become a multimillionaire and my multimillionaire self gets up, puts makeup on, and gets dressed up every day and dresses a certain way, you bet your bottom fucking dollar I am going to get up, get dressed up, do my hair, and dress a certain way. Bet your bottom fucking dollar I'm going to get up and meditate. I'm going to get up and read the self-help book. I'm going to get up at a certain time in the morning if that's what I think my multi-million-dollar self will do. This works the same no matter what you're trying to do. If you are looking for a romantic partner, if that person was already in your life today, what would you be doing? Would you be going on dates? Would you be receiving flowers? Would you be getting dressed up for them if that's something you want to do? Would you be buying little treats for them when you go to the grocery store? Do it now. Even if that person isn't in your life, buy the little treats, set them aside in a little basket when you get home. And when you finally meet that person, you're going to have a whole ass basket to give to them and be like, look, I finally recognize that you're the one. Look at this cool basket that every time I dreamt about you and thought about having you in my life, this is like the little treats I would get you. And think about how thoughtful that is going to be for that person as well. Like, you have to start acting as if it's already happening. Because if you think you're going to reach that level of fulfillment without doing the work, you're going to get the thing and it's going to be disappointing. I know this from personal experience, and like, there are so many spiritual teachers out there that talk about this same concept. And I had to learn it firsthand in a very painful way. I'm telling you this now today because you don't have to live in that level of pain. You can decide to commit to being that person right now. And if you wake up one day and you mess up and you know, that's normal. It's okay if you wake up on one day and you feel like shit. I promise you, the version of you that's living their dream life is still going to have a shitty day. That's going to happen. It's normal. You are not going to live your life in this unending bliss for the rest of your life, because we are problem-solving machines at our best as humans. Problems are always going to happen. And it's learning how to come back to yourself in those moments that is really the way forward. But recognize that, like, it's okay if you wake up one day and you're like, oh, I'm just not feeling like my $1 million self. It's okay. Take the day off. Decide to come back to that person the next day, right? My point to yelling this at you basically is I want to save you from this grief, okay? I know that I can't save you. You have to save yourself, but you deserve more. You deserve more, and it is the stories that you tell about yourself, you about yourself on repeat, that are keeping you here. Especially those of you that want to attract a romantic partner, you have to start dating yourself. You have to start seeing yourself as a worthwhile person that is worthy of having a relationship. Because if you feel like you're not worthy, like you're never going to meet that person, and you're stressed about where they are, that's not going to bring them in any faster. It's going to bring in a partner that's also very desperate. And the more you can commit to loving on yourself, I promise 10 people are going to line up around the block to want to be with you. That's exactly how it works. The moment that you are thriving and on your own, dating yourself, loving your own company, that's when that person will show up. And I say that because the knight archetype is here, which is like the young romantic. It also could be that you just need to romanticize your life a little bit more, which, lucky for you, that is a trend right now. So you can find information on it a lot easier. Now, we also have for you 4 of Cups, Ace of Wands, and the 8 of Pentacles. When I tell you you need to drown your reality in this, that's what you need to do, because you will make it. You will become the person that you believe you will become if you are constantly putting that into your mind. Because the 8 of Pentacles says that you're going to have to do work to be this person. You are going to have to commit to doing the internal work and changing how you believe about yourself. 4 of Cups says that right now you're dissatisfied with where you are, but focusing on all that dissatisfaction is not going to bring you satisfaction. In fact, I just heard something recently that was so in alignment with this reading, that was like, don't ask spirit why something happened, why something's not working. Ask for, because you could come up with 1,000 reasons why. Ask how you can get what you're trying to get instead. So if you want to like ask spirit to help you, ask how you can get what you're trying to get. Don't ask why you're not getting it. Ask better questions, get better answers. Spirit, one of your guides is sassy. I feel like this reading, I'm like yelling at you, and I feel like it's because your guide is yelling at you. And ultimately, whenever I have guides that yell, it's always an ancestor. It's always somebody that like they were living, you probably knew them already, and they were always yelling like this before. They're a little intense. But Ace of Wands also tells me that this is going to be brand new. It's going to be like a brand new, it's going to reignite your passion in some capacity. So the Ace of Wands is also like the good sex card. Okay. It's all about like getting the D, if you know what I mean. That definitely looks like stroking a pole, if you know what I mean. It's getting the D a little bit, if that's your thing. You know, we always make room for all genders, all body parts. But, to me, this could be that, manifesting that person, good sexual chemistry. But it could also be just reigniting your passion for life and getting excited to just live this human experience, which is something I feel like that's been missing from your life for a little while. Then we also have for you, your purpose is personal expansion. It's one of my favorite cards. How can you be more How can you be more intentional with your choices and live with more purpose? So this card is literally telling you that you don't need to focus on like one creative pursuit, one creative passion, one specific thing. Your purpose is literally personal expansion. So when you drown your mind and saturate yourself with the person you want to become and live as him, her, or them, that is when you're going to feel in alignment and you won't even think about what is my purpose and what am I doing? Because the truth is, nobody knows what the hell they're doing. And then we also have move. A long walk is good for the soul. Get outside, allow Mother Nature to lift your spirits. So this is also a call to move your body. Move your body, because even if you're somebody, like I'm not talking about like, oh, get out there and exercise. Like if that's what you want to do, good for you. It could be if the version of yourself that you want to become is really athletic, then you're going to have to commit to being more athletic. But it could be moving in any sort of way. It could be shaking. It could be moving your hands, moving your eyes, moving your shoulders. That's something that we learn with somatic practices, that sometimes movement, it's not all just exercise. Movement is also just moving your body in any way that it feels like it wants to move. And shaking even can be like very therapeutic, where you just need to like shake stagnant energy out. But you are being told that part of your routine that you need to commit to, besides changing your self-concept, is committing to some kind of movement practice. Some of you, that's going to be getting into like athletics and shit. Some of you, that's going to be stretching. Some of you, that's going to be doing somatic work. Whatever makes you feel good in terms of movement is what is going to be for you. So that's what you need to commit to. The routine you need to get into is like, honestly, listen to my podcast that came out this week. It's episode 142, shameless self-plug, but I literally walk you through this process, all of the things that I have added to my life specifically. I feel like me and you, this is our pile. This is definitely like, I am vibing with your energy. We are in a similar place right now. And if you need some tips on like what to include, listen to that podcast episode. It's, like I said, episode 142. It's got like a life update in it, but I also walk you through all the things that I've changed recently in my life to become more of this kind of person. And I really feel like if you're vibing on this, it will help you. So that is what I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you for tuning in. If you feel like you would like to meet your authentic self, definitely check out my course available on my website for $12, 12 USD. It's available at KhloeTaylor.com. It's all about meeting your authentic self. It gives you a 20 plus, I want to say it's 22 pages, but it actually might be 24. 20 plus, I know that. Page workbook with a couple of audio guides that go along with it that walk you through meeting your authentic self. I also offer private readings on my website. So if you'd like to book me for a personal session, you can do so, including astrology charts. My Patreon is also available to you, where I do weekly energy updates. I do astrology updates. I do community events every single week where I meet with you. And we also have, like, anytime there's personal content like vlogs, life updates, lots of those things always go to Patreon. So check out the Patreon if you want to be part of it. It supports me, and I think we have a good time there. And I, of course, also have my podcast, which I already mentioned to you. It does come out every Monday at 4:44 a.m. So if you would like to listen to it, of course, I'm going to encourage that because it's a vibe. But that's always available to you. Definitely check out this newest episode. And I do accept tips and gifts for my readings. Please never feel like it's an expectation, but always appreciated. I have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. And because I'm your favorite tarot card reader, you know you want to follow me on socials. I'm at Kloee Taylor on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Please come and follow me. We have a good time there. And I will talk to you in the next video. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll see you next time. Bye.